Okay, yeah, the soul cleanser thing sort of sounds like colon cleanser now. And any job that I would have, fictional or otherwise, would not include a colon. So I just want to say, but thanks for helping me with that. I'm not very creative. I know now you're going to be worried because I'm reading, but I'm really not. So I have no idea what I would be. I just want to say there's some students here I want you to say, I just want you to know I'm not talking about you in this. Even though it is nonfiction, it is not you. I love you. It's all good. Okay. Thank you. All right. This is a section from a piece I wrote, Why We Write. It was in Poets and Writers, and this section is called The Space That Separates Us. So, I teach composition classes in Florida to all sorts of college students. Those who want to write, those who hate to write, those who text while I talk, those who carefully record the words that I speak. I tell them what C.S. Lewis supposedly said first. We do not write to be understood, we write to understand. Choose a topic where you can discover something about yourself, about your world, about your place in the world. Be creative, be passionate, be purposeful. They nod, but Tim really, really wants to write about legalizing pot. It's like completely critical to him, you know? He's passionate about it. It's so ridiculous, all the misinformed, negative, right-wing, dare bullshit, sorry, Ms. Yu, that they've been shoving down the throats of kids since 5th grade, that he really needs to write about it. And by the way, everything he writes is like confidential, right? I can't like give it to the cops, right? Yes, I say, it's confidential. And then I tell all of them, you are bigger than the topics on the debate club list. Pinpoint something you're curious about and go out and learn about it. Then write and write and write until it makes sense to you. Think about how you can shape it to make sense to someone else. And tell me who that someone is and what she cares about and how you'll speak to her, because that's what writing is, the process of inquiry and research and audience and creativity. And yes, Tim, what about him? Would that work? If my sister were a different sort of person, she might take a toke from Tim and breathe out, let me tell you a story about your professor. And I would know the story she would long to share, the one who clearly defines who I am, the one who separates me from the sane, from the writer, from the non-writer. When I was 8 or 9, I read Helen Keller's autobiography, The Story of My Life, and felt the blind and deaf spirits of my small town speak. For days that summer, I closed my eyes and wandered through our home, stretching out my arms and bumping into walls. I wrote exhausting notebooks about how it felt to be deaf, blind, and mute, peeking out of the page to make sure I stayed on the line. I refused to speak at the supper table, kneading words into my mother's palm, M-I-L-K. I would tap as my mother guessed over my students' groans, potatoes, honey, beans? It ended one day in the middle of a brick road near our home. My Helen Keller inner child had gone for a walk with her seeing eye dog Tippy. I tied a bandana around my eyes to keep me from cheating, and I used a broom to guide me as I counted the cracks in the sidewalk that steamed under the sun. Soon Tippy became distracted by a squirrel or a cat, or who knows, I mean really it's difficult to tell when you're deaf and blind and juggling your broom, your bandana, and your untrained dog. Surrounded by heat, it's so heavy it pulls at your ankles. I dropped her leash. But Helen Keller is no quitter. And so I threw down the broom and fell to my knees, burning them on the pavement. Being mute, you're unable to shout your dog's name, and so you search by crawling, reaching for the leash that you can't see that belongs to the dog you can't call. I don't know how long I would have continued this way, on my knees, my hands gliding over the hot stones, my dog loose. But then I heard a small apologetic beep. I ignored it, after all, I am deaf. But another followed, and another, and soon a small chorus of beeps surrounded me, and I heard a car door open and slam shut. Reluctantly, I pulled off my bandana. I was in the middle of an intersection. Being the overachieving Helen Keller, I didn't just block one road of traffic, but stopped cars in 4 directions. A man walked toward me and said, are you all right? I only nodded, and not because I was mute. I jumped up and ran, grabbing the broom, and as I reached the curb, I noticed a girl from my school in her mother's station wagon. She looked at me horrified. It occurred to me there are some small benefits to being truly blind. I walked home, the bandana in my pocket, the broom trailing listlessly, my knees burnt pink, and found my dog and my sister on the front porch. She took one look at me, and without knowing where I'd been or what had happened, she shook her head. This is why everybody thinks you're so weird. Tim is stoned by now, but still this is a funny story, so pathetic, so strange, so me. I tell this story to my writer friends in Denver one night. We meet on Thursdays and we write and we read and then we take a break and we write some more. We've given up drinking wine while we write. One of us has joined AA and a few more of us should consider it. So we drink herbal tea and eat cookies from the Cuban bakery. My friends laugh until tears form as I crawl around the floor searching for that still elusive leash. Later, Hunter bumps into me as he comes out of the bathroom, his eyes closed, his hands searching for my palm. S-O-R-R-Y, he taps. But they laugh in a way that Tim and my sister do not. They laugh because all writers have their own stories like these, those who show how apart we are from those we live among. Words feed us just as they separate us. We stand in parties, we hold drinks and tell jokes, we laugh and talk politics, but we are always aware of the differences between us and the people we like or even love. They are part of the world in a way that we can never be. They inhabit their space. We observe and analyze, rub meaning from moments, and yet none of it is truly real to us until we write it down. And when we don't write, when we pretend that we can be like those we surround ourselves with and fill our lives with kids and work and PTA and husbands who would rather watch TV than read, we end up on our knees. Thank you.